Jai Guru, everyone.
Hi, Guru.
Jai Guru, and welcome to this episode of Yoga Nanda podcast, where we are discussing the autobiography line by line. We're missing Lauren today, but we shall, the Three Musketeers, push on. Lauren hopefully will be joining us again next time, for those who miss her as much as we do. Priyank is going to jump in Lauren's place to cover what we discussed on the last episode, chapter 23, part 2.
Yes, so Mukunda was at Sri Yukteswar's place, and Sri Yukteswar abruptly kind of asked him, "Hope you're ready for your exams," and Mukunda, of course, was not. And then we see a very human side of Mukunda, Paramahansa Yogananda, in that he tears up in his protest with Sri Yukteswar, asking him to basically go to the exam. And then he says, no, you have to. Sri Yukteswar says, you have to attend. Promise me you'll at least attend. And he does so. Oh, he does agree. And then he says divinely that your friend Romesh will help you. And Romesh does start helping him. And this is pretty much where we're going to continue.
Nice. This whole section of this chapter kind of brought me back to the days of sitting examinations. And I have to say, kind of thankfully, not many times in my adult life have I had to cast my mind back to these times. But here we have Yogananda reflecting as Mukunda, saying that he had been thinking about the examination, the English literature examination, and that he realized that he had made a pretty serious error, as he says, that there were certain questions within the exam that had previously been divided into a question on each part, and instead there was a change to making it divided into two parts, A or B or C or D. And so Yogananda is telling us here that instead of considering one question in each part, he actually answered both questions in the first section. So he carelessly overlooked the second section. So coming to this realization, he saw that he really could only get the best possible score of 33, which would be 3 points less than the passing mark of 36. A bit of a heart in the stomach, or in the mouth moment, Mike.
That's an interesting twist again, because usually you feel like, okay, God is helping me, I'll be safe, and from now on it will be all maybe a miracle, but I'm confident it will happen. And then you have a twist like that where everything is in jeopardy again, and then it tests your faith one more time, and that's what it does, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's for our amusement, maybe, and for our benefit, right? That we can all learn through proxy, through Yogananda's sharing. I thought it was really sweet, this next part where he says, I rushed to master and poured out my troubles. So this is the faith part coming back in, where he knows exactly who to go to through the guru. And maybe lessons here for us whenever we're in trouble in life. The person that we should go to first is the guru. And he says essentially that he made a blunder, but he says unpardonable blunder. And it's in relation to these blessings through Romesh that he says that he's quite unworthy. Very, very humble of him to kind of come in and throw himself down and admit this in such a way, Mike.
Did you guys wonder why he used those adjectives? Is it maybe because he has this pressure on him now that he has all those people helping him, and now he doesn't want to let them down? He's basically feeling the responsibility, carrying the weight.
Yeah, it's a good point, isn't it? I suppose, yeah, you don't want to be the one that lets people down and says, well, that was a whole bunch of nothing, right? Thankfully, we know it goes a different way. And in response to this kind of, I suppose, the drama of the moment, Sri Yukteswar's tones were light and unconcerned, and he says, cheer up, Mukunda. And I thought that was a really, really nice moment there, that he doesn't sort of lambast him for not being prepared or anything like that, but simply says cheer up, and he points to the blue vault of the heavens, and I love that turn of phrase, and he says that it is more likely that the sun and moon will interchange their positions in space than that you will fail to get your degree. What a line. If there's some lines that we've talked about, that are stand out, there's something about this line, isn't it? The unwavering or supreme confidence. How would you describe this? That the faith, the knowing, from Sri Yukteswar here to Mukunda.
It's really like hard hitting and powerful. It's almost like him like projecting these words makes it happen. So up till now, you would have ended up failing because obviously he hasn't got the right mark. But he just pushed this out into the ether, and now the stars are going to realign for Mukunda, but not such that the sun and the moon will interchange their position, because that's of course impossible. Mike, perhaps Mike's, for some reason he's outside today, which means that he can actually mimic how Sri Yukteswar would have pointed to the blue vaults of heavens behind him. Yes, that's pretty good.
They
I'm
are
sure you'd
nice,
have done
nice
it.
and blue.
You would have done it more dramatically, like yeah, Mike's enacting it. So this sun and the moon analogy is, I think, one that, and saying, I think, is one that Sri Yukteswar likes, because astute readers of the Autobiography of a Yogi will know that in chapter 13, Shashi and the Three Sapphires, this episode happened where Shashi was basically asking Sri Yukteswar if he should take medicines prescribed by the doctors that after Sri Yukteswar's healing. And then Sri Yukteswar says, just as you wish, drink them or discard them, it doesn't matter. It is as impossible for you to die of tuberculosis as it would be for the sun and moon to interchange their positions. Sri Yukteswar added abruptly, go now before I change my mind.
What do you think he's indicating out there? If he's referencing that twice, it's quite significant, I would add, to see that twice in the Autobiography of a Yogi like that.
I think we know that he's a supreme astrologer, right? So he must love to use astrology analogies for things like this.
I think it's also like, people do comparisons like that often. Like it's more probable for this to happen than that. But this is like such an crazy example that completely blows people's mind. It's even hard to imagine. And it's interesting that you pointed out, Priyank, that his guru used that phrase, and now he uses it as well. So passed down through the chain.
So, Mike, I think you're studying quite a lot of astronomy these days. What would actually happen if the sun and the moon interchange their positions with respect to the Earth?
I don't think you need an astronomer for that.
He is in LA.
He could give an astute, like, intellectual answer. Would a black hole be instantly created?
Well, I don't think our planet would be doing too well right next to the sun. Yeah.
The sun, I think moreover, I think the sun is so big that I think it would be subsumed. It would be bigger than the envelope between the moon and the sun. I can't remember the dimensions. But the other important thing here, not important, but there's a famous book film called Brother Sun and Sister Moon, which tracks
St. Francis.
Tracks. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm going to watch it now that this has come up. So it tracks kind of the life of St. Francis of Assisi. And apparently the origin of this line, Brother Sun and Sister Moon, is like a prayer from St. Francis of Assisi that praises God for all creation in terms of the sun and the moon and their individual beauties and their interconnectedness, and his love for nature and science, of course. But I love the moon analogies generally, because like if you think of like songs and poetry and scripture, technically the sun should get like a lot of airtime, shouldn't they, in literature? But actually it's the moon that gets the most praise and song and rhyme, philosophy, and all it does is it reflects, right?
Mhm.
But for some reason, we love the moon, or we talk more about the moon than we do the sun in our literature.
Mm.
Well, I mean, Mike, you could probably just go down to your friends in LA and Hollywood, and there you go. You can have your sun and the moon depiction probably done by those guys, let alone somebody of Mike's stature or Sri Tishwar's. But I fancied it to be some intuition. We have so many instances where Sri Tishwar is able to say exactly what's going to happen, how it's going to unfold. He seems to be able to see the future in some sense. And I wondered, is it this power of intuition? It gives him a sense of knowing, essentially, that he has the voice of God, telling him how things are going to be. So I thought we can read a few excerpts um, from the writings of Sri Paramahansa Yogananda. And the first one goes, intuition is soul guidance, appearing naturally in man during those instants when his mind is calm. The goal of yoga science is to calm the mind, that without distortion, it may hear the infallible counsel of the inner voice.
Solve all your problems through meditation. Lahiri Mahashaya said, attune yourself to the active inner guidance. The divine voice has the answer to every dilemma of life. Though man's ingenuity for getting himself into trouble appears to be endless, the infinite succor is no less resourceful.
The cultivation of intuitive calmness requires unfoldment of the inner life. When developed sufficiently, intuition brings immediate comprehension of truth. You can have this marvelous realization. Meditation is the way.
So maybe this calm mind that's referred here by Paramahansa Yogananda is sort of giving us a hint through where Mukunda was in this moment. He's throwing himself at the feet of the guru, sort of saying that he's really messed up, and maybe this is an indication that the mind wasn't quite calm. But then Sri Yukteswar was just the unmovable rock, this eternally calm mind that can perceive knowledge. And we get maybe a bit more of a hint. Hello,
Yeah.
there's somebody in Mike's picture.
This is Ben.
Hi, Ben. We get a hint maybe towards this interpretation that I'm giving in the next part, where we're looking at Mukunda leaving the hermitage, he says, in a more tranquil mood. So he seems like his mind is being tranquilized by the calm knowing of Sri Yukteswar's words there. And he said that although it seemed mathematically inconceivable that it could pass, he had sort of left a little bit happier than when he went in to see Sri Yukteswar. And he said that he looked once or twice very apprehensively into the sky. um, and yeah, it appeared to be secure. The Lord of Day, as he puts it, the sun and the moon were in the right place. And when we then look to the next part, we see, sorry, what have we got there?
Buy this
Ben's
book. Buy this book.
Solving the mystery of life.
Ben is
Solving the
promoting
Mystery
the
of
book as
Life
well.
book.
Solving the
Nice.
mystery of life. Yep.
Get your orders. You'll link people to the orders, Mike. Yeah,
We don't get a
Yes.
commission. We don't get any commission. We promise.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, all proceeds go to the SRF. So when Mukunda says he reaches the Panthi, essentially the auditorium, where he's going to do the exams, he overheard his classmates remark that for the first time this year, the exams are going to be changed to have a different passing mark. So the English literature exam passing mark has been lowered. It would have been a moment where if you hadn't been sat down, you probably would have wanted to be quite I don't know, maybe a moment of this reassurance that God is there and sort of looking over your shoulder, taking care of you in that moment, Mike.
It's like the sun and the moon, they didn't have to change positions, but they changed the passing mark. So some things had to change in order to make this happen. I've always fascinated by, when a saint tells you this is going to work out, what way God will choose to make it work out for you, right? Because there's more than one. And I like the way it happened here.
Yeah. And in this instance, it was more drama. So he was called the long-haired monk by one of the boys in the room that came speedily towards him. Before I go on, Priyank, do you want to jump in?
Do you think Srikdeshwar's interference in in this matter, do you think it like planted a seed thought into like the examiners' minds, like Lahiri Mahasaya and Babaji, that superintendent that sent him to Rani Kit mistakenly? Do you think that kind of thing happened, where the examiners just suddenly thought, let's lower the mark this time?
Yeah, who knows? It's nice to speculate, right? But we definitely have seen a few instances where there seems to be some divine influence there. So Mike is potentially going to be bringing in Ben for like what's this? Mike, is it a duet? Can you get Mike to or Ben to do
I
the
think
guitar and you sing?
it would have been a Ben solo, but
Sorry, if there's listeners,
he was offering to play a new jingle for our podcast.
Oh, that's nice.
there you go. Take him up.
But
I don't
think the audio is going to work well like this.
No, I can't hear it.
It's the way, it's the way, it's the way, it's the way. Podcast. It's the way podcast. Listen online now. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Probably.
That's right.
Nice.
This was Ben from France, from Normandy, who gave this lovely jingle.
Ben's a devotee.
He is, absolutely.
Nice. Thanks to Ben. Spontaneous action here on the podcast today. Great singer, great guitarist and singer. We need to get him to do this official jingle. So okay, great. Going back to the story then. We're getting Hi Ben.
Hi, I'm just the crowd.
Yeah, Ben. Okay, nice. Okay.
It's a live podcast with crowd.
That's right.
So I mustn't.
Yeah, we should go live one day actually, but we're not.
Yeah, we're not live right now.
Yeah, one day we'll be live and get Ben on. But Ben, you're joining us at a time when we're on chapter 23, part 3, and we're looking at when Mukunda was essentially saved by the gods, by the divine will, to pass this exam. He was called a long-haired monk by a boy that sped into the exam room and said, why is there a sudden interest in the scholastic matters? And why
cry in the 11th hour?
11th hour, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he was asking Mukunda, I think here was asking, is it true that the passing mark has just been lowered to 33 points? So there's all a bit of a stir in the moment, Priyank.
Yeah. This sarcastic comment, why cry at the 11th hour, is often used, isn't it? But apparently it derives from the Bible, the parable of laborers in the Bible, where workers were hired at the 11th hour of the 12-hour working day, but they received the same day pay as the rest of them. So everyone was up in arms. But
Good find.
It's cool that their banter here continues even in the midst of quite an intense time, whether or not you're going to pass, or whether or not you think you've hit the required pass mark.
I have to say, there's probably smackings of like my past in this, where I probably got lucky on several occasions with exams. But yeah, I thought it this little passage was nice that people are tools of God and we're channels for God, and we're all part of this story whether we know it or not. And there's a hunch here in the next part as we continue, and Mukunda realizing that he was going to be saved potentially by this miraculous drop in 3 points for the passing mark in the exam. And he says that he took a few joyous leaps to his room where he sank on his knees and he praised the mathematical perfections of his divine Father. What a nice way to celebrate, Mike.
Yeah, it reminded Ben of a sentence from earlier.
If I may.
Yes.
Please.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm very happy. I found you online before. I thought, who's doing this? It's this guy and you guys. I mean, there's a hidden sentence. For me, it was kind of hidden, and maybe you've been over it a lot because you're very thorough. But I don't know if you actually mentioned this. There's one specific moment when he's about to go into the examination. I'm sorry to wind time back a tiny bit, back 3 pages. And, there's Romesh calling you, said a classmate to me. And don't go back or you'll be late for the exam. And then Guruji says, ignoring his advice, I went back to see Romesh, who then counseled me on something really important for the exam. And that for me is one of those, maybe you've been on this, but is one of those hidden nuggets of beautiful truth. In that moment, something very, very close to my heart is having to learn that there's always people next to you ready to tell you and to convince you not to follow your intuition and not to do the right thing, right? Because
and for good reason, within speech marks, right? The reason, this idea of reason, it betrays us all, essentially.
Right. And the reason is great. You'll be late. Don't go.
Yeah.
But his intuition, and also it's helpful to be an avatar because then you should go back to Romesh and you don't go in the exam room. But it happens in all our lives where we go, I was thinking of doing this, and you feel inspired to do it, and somebody goes, don't do it. It doesn't make sense. Also, it's not a good endeavor for this reason. And the market is so and so. And you go, right, maybe it's this. But there's always people there to put brakes in your enthusiasm and endeavors and intuition. And that hidden sentence, have you been on this? Like, give me a secret wink if you've already gone over this quite a lot.
We didn't do it that sentence, I don't think.
That's, for me, that secret sentence is so helpful because I'm quite impulsive and I like to feel what I want to do in the moment. And there sometimes I've not done something on the advice of somebody and then hit my head with my own palm. Thinking, why don't I just follow what I felt like doing? And that's why I love that little hidden bit of knowledge. Some bits of knowledge are here's the knowledge, and some are just a little bit behind the weeds somehow in the book. Good book.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, pretty good. I think so too. Yeah, I think we all agree here.
Violent
That's a really
agreement.
good point, because I think that's actually a good point. Like, you follow your intuition, and then, like Ben said, there's like the whole world is sometimes trying to stop you from doing it, and you're still correct.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, my dad used to, unbeknownst to him, he's a spiritual warrior, and so he said to me, Chris, always listen to the little voice in the back of your head. And so many years later, I came back to him and said, Dad, have you ever thought about what that little voice is?
You're onto something, Dad.
Yeah, you're on this. Keep after that thought. Keep after that thought. It's a good one, yeah.
Good.
So yeah, exactly that. Well, thanks for the recap there.
Did you find
Ben?
it, Priyank?
I'm still looking for it.
I'm pretty sure we did cover it. Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah, it's a good.
Don't go back.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
All right. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Nice contributions from Ben there. So we have this showing of gratitude from Mukunda. He doesn't sort of celebrate in any other way, but goes straight to God, right? In joy and gratitude before he goes straight to his guru. So we see his priorities here coming up. And he says each day he thrilled with the consciousness of of a spiritual presence. that he clearly felt guiding him through Romesh.
We haven't covered it yet because it's in 2 paragraphs time.
It's in the future.
Oh,
There we go.
I
So we're
covered
going to cover it,
it.
Chris.
I
In your
covered it in
mind,
my
Chris, we've
mind.
I had a
covered it.
feeling it
In-
was in the future. So
Gosh.
yeah.
I covered it in preparation for this 2 weeks ago, probably. Okay, that's time for you to start. Priyank, go ahead.
Sorry to stop your flow.
Mm.
This mathematical precision of my divine Father, I think, is a really powerful way of expressing how God operates. And people that ascribe to like randomness and chaos, for example, they perceive chaos to be random, but it doesn't necessarily need to be random. Like, there's that famous line which says, it is said that something as small as a flutter of a butterfly's wing can ultimately cause a typhoon halfway around the world. That seems like, like randomness happening, but it's actually a chain of events that can be discretely tracked if your models are good enough. So here, like, it kind of, I love that he's kind of alluding to this, that all the calculations essentially that his God and gurus have done have been completely harmonious with the outcome that has been had.
Mm. And the spiritual presence, he mentions here that he was thrilled with the consciousness of spiritual presence, and that he was, he took a few joyous leaps into his room. So, what a great, few days from what a turnaround really from absolute disaster that he was feeling to this joyous moment, Frank.
This way of describing the God as a spiritual presence, and he's capitalized S and P there, is quite unique. I think it's new, isn't it? And I don't think in the lessons or other books he's referred to God in this way. So it feels like it's his description for God in this context is very unique. And
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, please.
Yeah, I was going to refer to the lessons without going into detail, obviously, on the lessons, but there's a breakdown of essentially God, how God manifests to us. And in there, joy is mentioned. Peace is another one. Ecstasy is another one. So it goes through, I think there's seven or so definitions for the presence of God. And so that's where my mind went to when I read this. Is essentially, and whenever I meditate, this is something that I actually focus on. If I try to manifest God's presence, it's through that category that's in the lessons. And here's Yogananda doing it in real time through the guidance of Romesh. He is being saved. His academic tenure is being saved. So he says that through the significant incident that occurred in connection with his examination in the Bengali language course, which was that one morning, Romesh, who had not coached him on the subject, had called Mukunda as he was leaving to the boarding house on his way back to the examination hall, and he said, "Well, there was a boy was calling Mukunda to say that Romesh was looking for you. He was shouting for you," he says. And so, yeah, this is what Ben was referring to, where this advice was given to him at the time. Says, don't return to Romesh. We're going to be late to go into the exam hall. However, Mukunda, being intelligent here, ignored the advice and ran back into the house. So we do see the context that he'd had this reinforcement of this is Romesh, he's being guided, through Romesh, and Romesh has some divine will acting through him. So he listens to this, he recognizes this, and he rushes back to see Romesh at this point, Mike.
Yeah, one thing Gurji also mentions here that Ramesh wasn't actually coaching him in that particular class. He had the exam in this morning. So your mind could have just justify not going back because Ramesh probably wants to tell him something about an exam that's tomorrow and it can wait, not about today.
Mhm.
But his intuition told him it needs to be now.
And Romesh spills the beans. So he says, there's been a bit of a curveball, let's say, by the by the professors, and I thought this was especially cruel, right? How cruel could they be? But the professors had planned to massacre the students by asking questions about the required reading books. So he said that, interestingly here, he said he had a hunch, Ramesh had a hunch that this year the professor would plan this change of the line of questioning. And he said that, normally this examination is very easily passed by Bengali boys. And so Ramesh continues to outline two stories of the life of Vidyasagar, pronounced probably butchered that pronunciation, massacred the pronunciation, Priyank, but you can help out in mending that. Who is a renowned Bengali philanthropist of the 19th century. Priyank?
Yeah, Vidya Sagar. So you
Vidyasagar.
pretty much got it right. The I was going to go to this hunch thing. I remember when when they talk about the exam in school or university, everyone suddenly pays like, well, you'd be stupid not to suddenly pay your 100% attention at that point in time. But if you go to every single class with a bit of focus, especially a subject you're struggling on, then they can't help but like insinuate and suggest certain things, and then you get the hunch as well about what's going to happen. So I think that's the the ordinary way of developing a hunch. But I think Ramesh might have had a bit of intuition, and Sri Yukteswar prodding as well. In terms of Vidya Sagar, he is a renowned. He's a renowned like social reformer and an educator. He's like really good with Sanskrit as well. So his poetry was pretty good. So two examples of stories from Vidyasagar's social reforms were he established girls' schools, creating educational empowerment for women in Bengal and Calcutta as well. And then he did free homeopathy clinics as well for tribal communities and medical treatment. So he kind of funded them from himself and all that kind of stuff. So he was a good guy, shall we say.
Nice. Yeah, I had the same thought here whenever you mentioned previously, how could this have occurred in terms of these, whether it be the professors reducing the score of the exam by 3 points, or whether it be Ramesh saying that he has a hunch, is it Sri Yukteswar sort of, nudging the minds of the professor and Ramesh, or, how is it occurring? But we're left to ponder.
Yes.
We're left to ponder, but certainly there's divine will, as Mukunda says, that he felt this spiritual presence that he clearly felt to be guiding him through Ramesh. So this spiritual presence is coming through Ramesh. So I thought we'd read a little bit about divine will. Paramahansa Yogananda often quoted saying that the Lord helps him who helps himself. Maybe this is hinting to what you were saying there, praying about paying attention in class. Maybe Ramesh did. And so he's being helped here. When having to make a decision, we would like nothing better than for some divine force to just tell us what to do. It would be so easy. We would not have to make any effort if at any given moment we knew we were receiving God's direct guidance. But it's not meant to be so simple. And the reason is this: we are a part of God, but we do not know it. And we will never know it if all we do is put the burden on him and say, you tell me what to do, as though we were dumb puppets and he the puppeteer. No, he expects us to use the mind he has given to us, while asking his guidance.
The ultimate prayer. Jesus prayed, Lord, let thy will be done. Now, many people interpret this to mean that they are not supposed to do any willing or thinking at all, but just sit and meditate and wait for God to do something through them. This is wrong. We are made in his image. He gave man intelligence such as he gave to no other creature, and he expects us to use it. This is why Paramahansaji taught us to pray, Lord, I will reason, I will, I will act, but guide thou my reason, will, and activity to the right thing I should do.
We practice this religiously in the ashram. In our meetings about the work, we meditate for a few minutes and then offer that prayer. Only then do we enter into discussion and make decisions. So do not sit back and expect God to initiate the necessary actions. Apply the principles of reason, will, and action. Pursue what seems to be the best course.
And that was Solving Your Problems with Guidance from Within by Sri Dayamata, February 28, 2023. It's on the yogananda.org website. Jump in, you can read more there.
Can't have been 23.
2023? Why?
Can't have been.
That's what it says on the...
Dayamata was no longer in the... That must be in the article.
Sorry, the blog, right?
Yeah.
The blog, yeah. After it passed
Unless
in
you
2010,
connected, they're connected to her through the ether.
In the vision, maybe.
Yeah.
No, she had passed in 2010, so she's whispering as Sri Yukteswar is whispering to Romesh. So yeah, that's possibly something that's occurring here. And there's a moment of thanksgiving that Mukunda, Yogananda shares with us as Mukunda. He says he thanked Romesh and quickly bicycled to the hall after receiving this advice. So he found that the examination sheet in Bengali did contain 2 parts. And the first instruction was give 2 instances of the charities of Vidyasagar. Worse or better that time?
That's exactly the same.
Was it?
The emphasis is on the first R, Vidyasagar.
Vidyasagar. So, lo and behold, as they say from the Bible, they really were given this divine guidance through Romesh. So Yogananda says that he transferred, as he transferred to the paper the lore that he had so recently acquired, just moments before, he whispered a few words of thanksgiving that he had heeded Romesh's last-minute summons.
So efficient, right? He stopped him from going to the exam, then quickly told him 2 stories, and then Guruji remembers them well enough to just put them to paper. Just good work.
That went into the short-term memory bank.
Yeah. The next day he won't remember any of those.
Yeah. It's funny when you... Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, you go.
Well, as you said, that next day he wouldn't remember anything. Any of that. There is a footnote in footnote 3 I'll mention here that Yogananda says that he forgot the exact wording of the instruction in the exam, but he remembered that the instruction concerned the stories that Romesh had just told him a moment before. So.
Yeah, and it just says that Vidyasagar's name was Pandit Ishwar Chandra, but Vidyasagar Vidya means learning, and Sagar must be ocean. So ocean of learning, like she describes it. But I find it quite cool that this last minute summons. I remember when I was in university, a lot of my friends in the last hour or two, they'd say, "Oh, let's go for a walk and clear your head and all that kind of stuff." And I used to be like, no, till the very last minute. till literally the last bit. Like I'd have an exam, and I used to stay on campus, so you can walk to the exam hall, in 5 minutes. So I used to sometimes wait till 6 minutes before leaving, 'cause I was still studying. And on multiple occasions, the last 10, 15 minutes of studies have yielded something that's literally just come up in the exam. And so what I then do is, because I just learnt it, I'd go to the page to see if it had come up and go just do a memory dump of what. It's obviously the worst form of learning, but
It's
Guruji will tell
education
us.
system.
Guruji will tell us the pros and cons of this in this later part of this chapter.
I used to do summer school often because I felt like during the semester I don't want to take extra courses, but then in summer I can get some extra hours in.
Mm.
And honestly, of all the summer courses I ever took, I don't remember anything. It's really because it's so short, and they push it all into like in those like 5 weeks or whatever it is, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not how the mind works. It doesn't go into long-term memory like that.
Yeah, unless you mix it with emotion and things like this. Guruji maybe has mentioned that before, and how to.
Well, he even remembers it well enough to write it here in his memoirs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that did occur to me when I was reading over this, that because he admits here, he says that he forgot the exact wording of the instruction, right? And it made me think that, I mean, what could you remember really of the exam? And he, to the detail that he gives these stories to us, it's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible. So here we see that he had been ignorant of I'm going to picture it for the third time. It is cigars. This is my dyslexia kicking in. It is sagar. There we go.
Ah, it's better. Well done. Well done.
Benefactions. So he had been ignorant of this great individual, great soul's benefactions, which he really admits that he wouldn't have been able to pass the Bengali examination without it. So he gives this thanksgiving. He gives his gratitude to Romesh. Priyank.
I love that. I love the little joke in brackets here where he says, "I'd been ignorant of Vidyasagara's benefactions and his charities," and then he says in brackets, "which now include one to me." So he himself is the recipient of Vidyasagara's benefactions posthumously.
Yeah. And so that's this part of chapter 23. We'll close off with Mike and give us a reading on Thanksgiving. And this is a quote from Yogananda. And then Priyank, you can jump in and tell us what we have to look forward to in the next episode.
Do it. Thanksgiving and praise open in your consciousness the way for spiritual growth and supply to come to you. Spirit pusheth itself out into visible manifestation as soon as a channel is opened through which it can flow. You should be thankful for everything at all times. Realize that all power to think and speak and act comes from God, and that He is with you now, guiding and inspiring you.
Love it. Love it. We always pat ourselves on the back, don't we, when we pass an exam and understand something. If we spend hours trying to understand it, we think, oh yes, we used our will and reason and intellect. But actually Guruji gave us those things to be able to understand.
Curse God if anything goes wrong, right?
Why did you let me forget?
Yeah. Why, God, why me? Yeah. So what do we have to look forward to in the next episode?
Next is
Priyank?
the last part of this chapter, but it's going to be pretty long, I must say. So what happens is that he has one last part of the exam, which is about writing something about someone that has inspired him, and he of course picks his guru, and it's a really wonderful way that he's described this section, which we'll go through. And then he discusses his father's reaction, one of surprise and happiness, of course. And he reflects on how it feels to receive his degree, and Sri Yukteswar's final riposte to him receiving his degree. And then there's a colossal footnote covering covering all sorts of truths from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, other scriptures, including Christian scriptures and understanding as well, which we'll go through, and also historical figures like King Janaka and Saint Teresa of Avila. So, don't know if we should do an episode on that alone or if we should separate it. We'll decide, but not in front of our listeners and audience, thankfully.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in with us today, folks. And we had a special appearance, special guest today in Ben. That was fun.
Yeah.
So until next,
I'm thinking of cutting his jingle to the end of the episode now.
No,
Maybe
yeah.
We'll see. Okay.
Nice. Until next time. Thanks. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
It's the way, it's the way, it's the way, it's the way. Podcast. It's the way podcast.